Hey, we are back here on Boles TV. It's BOLES.TV. It's Boles Television coming to you live and in concert in the rain and in the flash flood warning on the east coast of the United States. Looked out the window on the very brief break, and I don't know where the fire department is, but they were very noisy in arriving. And it does look like maybe it's lightening outside a little bit, meaning the sky is getting brighter and clearer. Doesn't mean there's thunderstorms and lightning. As you can see, I'm wearing my Writers Guild of America shirt. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, just briefly, we talk about trolls hating the deaf at the opera. Now we're going to talk about trolls who are now complaining about Joe Biden's new forgiveness of student loans. Now, briefly, it's not forgiveness. That's the technical term, but it's not. Nothing's being forgiven. The IDR income-driven repayment programs that have been around now for about 25 years have all had, from the very beginning, for 25 years, a provision that you make payments on your loans, you have your loans for 25 years, they will be dismissed, meaning you've done your time. And what people don't realize is, I paid off all my loans. These are loans that were never going to be able to ever be paid off. That's the difference. There are people who had loans when they first took them out 25 years ago, right? $10,000, let's say. They paid on them through different work stoppages, different life events, and their loan servicing company would put them in forbearance, right? So at the end of 25 years, they've been paying on that $10,000 for 25 years, and now because of interest and compound W, whatever, they now owe $25,000. So your $10,000 loan over a 25-year period of paying it becomes a $25,000 loan. How does that happen? Well, the Biden people have figured out what happened. It was all a big scam from the loan servicing people. There was a rule that if people could not pay, or if people were out of work or had some kind of family event, they could pay zero. Now, hardship deferments were limited. You could forbear forever, right? In-school deferments, COVID deferments. But what the main problem was is that these loan servicing companies were putting people in forbearance, because forbearance means you don't have to pay, but we're going to charge you interest. And it appears that that was not the policy. But all of these loan servicing companies, half of which are now out of it, so they must have seen this coming, said, we don't want any part of that anymore because that's how we make our money. We service people by keeping them in their loans forever, and they can never be dismissed in bankruptcy. We'll keep them on the hook. We'll keep resetting that 25-year clock with every forbearance and charging them interest. And the Biden administration said, hey, wait a minute, that's not right. You don't do that. So what they've done now, through the miracle of computers, is they've gone back and recalculated what should have been for all of these borrowers who now are in their 50s and 60s and who have been paying and managing and in this direct loans dungeon for 25 years. And they've said, look, you should have been credited for this and this. You should have been put in this program and not in forbearance. So in order to fix the problem that these loan servicers created, the Secretary of Education is going back and recalculating it. And I think about, is it 80,000, 800,000 people have been dismissed from their loans because they've done everything right over 25 years. They just didn't get credit for it. That is the difference. This is not a bailout. This is not welfare. This is not even people getting their PPP loans forgiven. This is much better and kinder than that. These are people who were suffering and who could not pay, but tried to pay and were put in the wrong place by the people that they were entrusted to help them, and they didn't help them. They just put them in forbearance to keep them always paying some interest and never on the principal. So I hope there's more of this kind of thing to come from the Biden administration, because this is exactly the kind of loan help that people need, which is weird that $20,000 forgiven, that feint, which really didn't help a lot of people, because most people of a certain age, they owe $37,000. So even if Biden's thing went through, they knocked off $20,000, right? They still owe 17. And if you do the math, in the current system that just was, they'd be paying on that $17,000 forever, and in 25 years it'd be $35,000 that you still owe. So in a roundabout way, Joe Biden did everyone a big fat favor by refusing to take the final word of the Supreme Court. I don't even know why he went that direction. He just should have done what he did and go back and fix it within the laws that have already been passed and approved with the Secretary of Education to set this right. So he's starting to do that. And people who know a lot more than I know say that this cannot be taken to the Supreme Court. It cannot be overturned, because all that has been happening is what should have been happening from day one. But nobody cared enough to go in there and fix it, except for Big Joe Biden. And for those of us who know, we're appreciative of Joe Biden for doing this, because Joe Biden is the one responsible for the law changes in bankruptcy and for refusing to allow student loans to be discharged in a bankruptcy, guaranteeing that you can never get out of them. So Joe Biden did the wrong thing 25 years ago, and now he's done the right thing as an old man trying to get reelected. Hey, hallelujah. Whatever works for you, as long as it helps other people who deserve to be helped.